we are live. Greetings, good people of planet Earth and elsewhere. Welcome back to the show. If you're new here, this is Raw Talk. And if you've been here before, you already know I'm Raw. So, hope everyone had a good week. I've had a very busy week, but we're pushing through. All that matters is we're getting things done, right? So, what are we talking about today? Today we are talking about respect, specifically between parents and their children. And we're going to start with a verse from the good book itself. Ephesians 6:4. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in nurture and admonition of the Lord. Now, we're gonna leave it right there because that's the main part that we're gonna be talking about, right? Not only fathers, don't get it twisted. This goes for mothers too, right? Because parents especially like to talk about the very first part of that phrase, honor thy father and mother. They like to conveniently forget about the next part, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in nurture and admonition of the Lord. All right. So where does respect come in, right? Respect is kind of the foundation of most relationships, I feel like. And sometimes I feel like it could be a little misconstrued. A lot of people feel like respect is automatically deserved because of their position, stature, title, whatever it is. But respect is kind of like a free-flowing thing, right? It kind of constantly has to be given, taken away, earned, depending on the relationship and how people are treating you. Because even sometimes in the best of friendships, somebody might have a bad day or kind of going through something maybe you don't know about and inadvertently treat you wrong or purposely as a way to channel their anger or get off their frustrations, right? And then that's when we take a step back and then, have the conversation, not have the conversation, but the relationship is altered by the lack of respect in that moment. So back to the parent-child dynamic. As parents, respect isn't automatically earned. It's not automatically deserved. You don't demand respect just because of the position you hold as a parent, especially dealing with grown adult children. The respect has to be reciprocated. Okay, you can't just talk to an adult any kind of way and expect it just to blow over, okay? Because you make your own bed at the end of the day. So, for instance, the dynamic with my parents, at least, I love my parents with all my heart, and we have great relationships today. It wasn't always like that, though, because we're all human, and we all make mistakes. We all slip up. We say things we don't mean, do things that we don't initially see as maybe being a mistake at the time. But these are all lessons learned at the end of the day. So sometimes we step on each other's toes, and then that's when we have conversations, right? My mother says something she may not mean because she's having a rough day, doesn't really know how to channel her anger or aggression in that moment, and then I'm the recipient, right? Because she's my mother, that doesn't automatically mean that I just got to take that shit. But on the other hand, it should be dealt with some grace, right? Take it, let her cool off, let it breeze over for a couple of days, bring it back to their attention. Hey, you kind of said this thing, made me feel this type of way. Didn't really appreciate it. And then we talk through it. And that's what we do the majority of the time. Same with me. If I say something that I don't necessarily mean, or I make a slick remark to whatever dialogue we may be having at the time that maybe I don't particularly like, and then she lets me know that she didn't appreciate what I said, how I said it, whatever it is, and then we fix it. and that's because we have that mutual respect. But we make those slip ups sometimes, and it's okay as long as we're making those corrections, because we're not perfect, and everyone understands that, right? Same with my father. Maybe we don't see eye to eye on certain things and kind of beat around the bush with it a little bit until we decide that, okay, we need to have a conversation about this, right? So that's when one of us gets a text, coffee, cool, what time? We meet up for coffee, we have the conversation, we get through it, because that foundation of mutual respect is there. So we're able to have that conversation. We're able to look at ourselves and see what we may or may not have done right in the situation, and come to a conclusion on how we're going to move forward. Now, on the other side of it, right, and I see this with other people and their parents, where they don't have that foundation of mutual respect with their parents, and it's very difficult to have those conversations. In particular, sometimes you deal with parents that don't respect you as an adult, right? At some point, a line has to be drawn. I'm not a little kid anymore. I'm a grown adult if you have your own family, got your own family, your own place, you're doing life with your family unit, and that is separate from them, believe it or not. And it needs to be respected. And parents may not like it, but when it comes down to it, you're dealing with adults. You can't boss them around like little children anymore. They weren't asked to be brought into the world. They don't owe you anything. I think that's important to remember, because sometimes that notion, my parents gave up their lives for me, so I just owe them the world. I think that a lot of times holds us back, and I don't think that's productive at all, to hold over your children because you decide to have them, not the other way around. And now, on the other hand, and this will be a conversation for another video, I do feel like I think it's a good goal to want to make your parents proud, to want to build a life where you could possibly retire them or make life comfortable for them in their old age. These are good goals, right? But then you're your own person, your own family. You have priorities that don't include them on the top of that list. It's just the sad reality of it. Well, one day my kids are going to be grown and they're going to be living their lives, and they're going to be concerned about themselves and their significant others and their families, and they don't need me in the way of that. I'm there to support them, to love them, and to make sure they're okay always. And it's a scary thought nonetheless, right? Because I want my little soul just the way he is right now, and but he's not going to be little forever. So it's just something we got to deal with, right? But back to the respect. Again, sometimes you're going to slip up. Sometimes you're going to do things that's going to rub somebody the wrong way, offend them, disrespect them. When those things are brought to your attention, it should be analyzed. You should treat your kids like every other human being out there that you interact with, because they are, in fact, human beings. They're just as deserving of the respect, so long as they're showing you the same respect in return. They're their own people. They have their own thoughts, their own goals, their own ambitions, their own beliefs. Yeah, it may be unlike anything you ever thought or anything you ever wanted, but it's theirs. And the most important part, I feel like, about looking at yourself as a parent and analyzing the way that you treat your children, the way you speak to your children, is that especially when they're younger, you're going to teach them to do the same things that you do. You're going to teach them the same ways that you talk, the ways that you eat, the ways that you live, whether you exercise or not, whether you read or not. You are their example. So you can't talk to your children with aggression and hatred and disdain and then not expect to get it back, right? One day they're going to get tired of getting spoken to like that, and they're going to hand it right back. And then you're going to be upset and wonder why it's happening when it was you all along. And it's your job as a parent. Your children learn from you, so do better. And to the children out there that have good, loving parents that speak to you with kindness, that are always there when you need them, and you feel like that you may not speak to them well all the time, or you don't keep in good contact with them, or you could be better as a child. I highly encourage you to do so, because you might not have asked to be here. You might not owe anybody anything, but the day you become a parent, you will understand all of the sleepless nights and the many heart attacks and all the stress that a parent goes through every day. So this doesn't excuse shitty parents, but like I said earlier in the video, try to deal with everything with a little bit of grace. So kids, honor thy mother and father. Parents, do not provoke the wrath of your children. It goes both ways, just like with any other relationship in your life. But yeah, so that was this week's long ramble. That was a little extra, but it's an important subject, because the relationship with your parents is very important, and depending on the way you and your parents treat each other highly depends on whether or not you can mend the problems in your relationship, and to allow the relationship to be filled with love rather than animosity, right? So with that, hope you guys enjoy the show. Leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you guys have a good week. Remember to take care of yourself and take care of business. Raw out.